The scenes described in this video is completely fabricated and hypothetical. And for the sake of discourse and content, this should not be taken seriously.
So now for today's video, we will talk about how to survive a sexually charged attack from the infamous 14 werewolves. Some of you have been rather bummed out for the first video, saying that I may have ruined the fantasy for some of you. All I gotta say to that is I'm very sorry. My intent for that video was to educate and entertain, and to not destroy your sexually charged dreams. If I did manage to break your dreams in that last video, then I suggest watching this video to the very end so you can continue your dreams of a werewolf gangbang. I don't know why you want that, but you know, that's your dreams, and that's not within my limits of judgment. So yeah, let's get to it. Now this first one I thought of instantly after seeing a picture of a full moon the other day. As someone who believes in the phrase, prevention is far better than a cure, in the context of surviving a 14 werewolf gangbang, one should always know about moon cycles. Basically, if you notice the moon is full and the area that you currently reside in has had mysterious deaths happening specifically on full moon nights, then it would be best to not come out during those nights. There won't be a deadly gangbang if the werewolves can't get to you. Think about that.
Yeah, this is big brain time.
But now you may ask me, but Cook, this isn't really surviving. This is just avoiding. What is the goal of this video? To tell people how to survive 14 werewolves? Exactly. You survive it by avoiding that situation in the first place. This is why it's important to know about moon cycles. But let's say you really had to go out that night. You had to do overtime at your job, or maybe you just came back from the movies after the last screening. Or maybe you had a date that ended pretty shitty cause the guy you met on Grindr was a complete asshole. From either of those scenarios, it got you outside walking in the dark like Joji. So you then find yourself in front of 14 horny werewolves. They are loud, they are big, and their schlongs are massive. You can't run, you can't hide. What can you do? Well, whatever your fate will land on this night will be banking on how much you've been paying attention to the moon cycles. You should have known that there will be a full moon tonight. If you haven't been paying attention, then your ass is grass, my friend. But if you have, then you would have been prepared. According to popular folklore, you can repel a werewolf with the use of wolfsbane or any object that is made of silver or iron. From my research, wolfbane, also known as monk's hood, is mostly native to Europe. Getting your hands on that particular plant would be very tricky. Second best option would be to carry something that is made up of silver or iron. Luckily for you, silver knives and iron axes are on the cheap. You can easily get them from your local hardware stores, or you can even order online. You have to know exactly what you're doing if you want to even hurt the damn thing. So here's some pointers. If you have the silver knife, aim for the heart. One full targeted stab to the sternum and it's done for. If you have the iron axe, do the exact opposite of what Thor did in Infinity War and aim for the fucking head. Just crack it open like you're about to share a cold one with the boys. Now, the only things that are holding you back at this point is your stamina and your fighting skills, which I am sad to say, most of us don't have good fighting skills. Let's be real, a werewolf isn't going after you because you're fit and have a body of a seasoned fighter, it's going after you because you're an easy target. The knife or the axe are good options, but if you don't even know how to use them effectively, it's not gonna be much help against the werewolf, let alone 14 of them. So, what are you gonna do now? Well, you can't do much at this point. What you can do is pray that these werewolves are gentle, which, let's face it, they rarely are. But there is one thing that you can do. It's desperate, but it may work. And it should work, because this is the only option that you have. Going back to a heated debate that we previously touched on in the last video, would it matter if the werewolves have knots? In this situation, it does matter. For our intents and purposes, we'll say that the werewolves that we encountered do have knots. Now, this last gambit banks on your knowledge of canid biology, and I would like to put a disclaimer here right now that the following information that we're gonna be talking about is purely for educational purposes only. I do not want to attract the wrong crowd. So, if you may or may not know, a canine's appendage has this little thing called a knot, or medically known as the bulbus glandis. What it does basically is to get stuck inside of a female, or in this case a male, and is to prevent the canid from withdrawing or pulling away. It is also very, very sensitive. So this is where you act. It's desperate and unlikely to work, but you have no other choice in the matter. If you can, you have to reach forward, wrap your hand around that knot and squeeze it. Not too hard to the point you would hurt them. That is just gonna make it worse. You don't want to make them horny and angry at the same time. Getting hate fucked by a 7-foot tall werewolf isn't fun, let alone 14 of them. What you should do is to squeeze firmly but gently. Repeat this process many times until the beast climaxes. This in turn would result to having a werewolf sex drive to deplete. The end result is a not so horny werewolf. If they don't have the sex drive, they would most likely leave you alone. I know, okay, I know. It sounds stupid, but consider your alternatives here. You're facing against 14 horny werewolves. All of them are planning to loosen the muscles of your turd cannon. Picking off 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of them out of the 14 pack can mean the difference between living or getting turned into a hashtag. Don't get me wrong, you're still gonna get fucked, but perhaps 11 or 10 werewolves might be more manageable than 14. Think about it. My fellow degenerates, this was a very fun video. Coming up with ways to survive a werewolf gangbang and approaching it kinda somewhat scientifically is rather fun. And now this is the time I ask you, my wonderful, wonderful viewers. Would you be able to deal with 14 werewolves? Would you be able to have the skills and the know-how in order to survive this? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, tell me what topics should I talk about next. Comment them down below as well. This has been your fellow degenerate, CookBoss88, and I'll be seeing you again in the next video. Stay foxy, much love.